The alien queen, ruler of 1,000 worlds, watches a single human prisoner brought before her. Humans are known as weak, emotional, and short-lived across the galaxy. Yet this human does not kneel, does not tremble, and does not beg. The queen notices something disturbing. The human looks at her with sadness, not fear. His eyes are calm, almost gentle. This makes the queen uncomfortable. She asks slowly and coldly, "Why do you look at me differently, human?" The human answers with unexpected honesty. He says he sees her not as a god or a monster. He sees her as someone who is alone. The entire court freezes. No one has ever spoken to the queen like this and lived. The queen feels anger, then confusion, then something unfamiliar, doubt. Through dialogue, the human reveals. Humans were attacked without warning. Earth never fought for conquest. Humans only wanted to be left alone. The queen learns that. Humans refused to kneel, even while losing worlds. Human soldiers stayed behind to protect civilians. Humans fought not to win, but to save others. The queen begins questioning the lies told by her generals. She orders the human kept alive for questioning, shocking her court. Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The hall was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the heavy kind. The kind that pressed down on the mind. The kind that made even strong beings feel small. The throne chamber of the Zarkan Empire was larger than most cities. The ceiling rose so high it vanished into darkness. Blue light flowed through the walls like slow rivers of energy. At the center of it all sat the alien queen. She was tall. Her body was covered in smooth silver armor grown, not built. Her eyes burned like distant stars. She had ruled for more than 600 years. Entire species had knelt before her. Entire worlds had fallen at her command. And now a human stood before her. The human was small compared to the guards around him. His hands were bound. His clothes were torn from battle and travel. Yet he stood straight. He did not bow. He did not lower his eyes. That alone shocked the court. Alien nobles whispered among themselves. War commanders tightened their grips on their weapons. Humans were known across the galaxy. Short lives. Weak bodies. Too much emotion. They always begged. This one did not. The queen leaned forward slightly on her throne. Her sharp eyes studied the human's face. And then she noticed something that made her pause. He was not looking at her with fear. He was not angry. He was looking at her with something else. Something close to sadness. The queen felt irritation rise inside her chest. She had seen every look possible. Hate, worship, terror. But this was new. Her voice echoed across the hall. "Human," she said slowly, her tone cold and sharp. "Why do you look at me differently?" The words cut through the silence. The human did not answer right away. He took a slow breath. That breath alone angered several guards. How dare he breathe calmly in front of the queen? Finally, the human spoke. His voice was tired but steady. "I am not looking at you differently," he said. "I am seeing you clearly." A wave of gasps moved through the chamber. No one spoke to the queen like that. Ever. The queen's eyes narrowed. "Careful," she warned. "Your kind does not understand where it stands." The human nodded slightly. "We do," he replied. "That is why I am calm." That made the queen pause again. Calm. She had crushed Earth's outer colonies. She had burned human fleets in open space. This man should be broken. And yet he was calm. "Explain," the queen demanded. The human lifted his eyes fully now. When I look at you, he said, I do not see a god. Murmurs spread through the court. I do not see a monster either, he continued. I see someone sitting alone at the top of everything. The queen's fingers tightened around the arm of her throne. You dare speak of loneliness to me? She asked. Yes, the human said softly. Because I know what it looks like. Anger surged through the queen like fire. She rose from her throne. The sound of her movement echoed like thunder. You think you understand me, she said. You, a creature whose species barely survives a century. The human met her gaze. No, he said. But I understand sacrifice. That word. Sacrifice. It struck something deep inside her. The queen stepped down from her throne, slowly walking closer. Her guards followed, weapons ready. You are here because your people lost, she said. Your worlds burn, your fleets are gone. The human nodded again. Yes, he said. We lost battles. The queen smiled coldly. And yet you still stand. Yes. Why? The human's answer was quiet. Because we stood so others could run. The queen stopped walking. For a moment the chamber felt smaller. Explain, she ordered. The human's voice grew heavier. When your forces attacked our outer worlds, he said, we knew we could not win. Several alien commanders smirked. But we stayed, the human continued. Not to fight you. The queen frowned. To delay you, he said. So families could escape. So children could live. The whispers stopped. The queen searched his face for lies. She found none. Your species is emotional, she said. That makes you weak. The human shook his head slightly. It makes us stubborn. The queen turned away from him, walking slowly in a circle. Humans confuse stubbornness with strength, she said. Strength is control, order, power. The human answered without hesitation. Strength, he said, is choosing to stand when leaving would save you. The queen stopped again. Her commanders shifted uncomfortably. Why did your people not kneel? She asked. Other species begged for mercy. The human's eyes hardened for the first time. Because we already knew the cost, he said. And we decided it was worth paying. A strange feeling crept into the queen's thoughts. Doubt. She did not like it. She turned sharply toward her generals. Why was this not in the reports? She demanded. One commander stepped forward nervously. Humans spread false stories, he said. They exaggerate their actions. The queen looked back at the human. Is that true? She asked. The human smiled faintly. No, he said. We downplay them. The queen felt something twist inside her chest. She had ordered the destruction of hundreds of species. None had spoken like this. None had looked at her with calm sadness. Why do you not hate me? She asked suddenly. The question surprised everyone. The human took a long moment before answering. Because hatred would be easy, he said. And easy things never last. The queen stared at him. You lost your worlds, she said. Your people suffer. Yes. And still you show me mercy. The human shook his head. No, he said. I show you truth. Silence returned to the hall. Heavy, thick. Finally the queen spoke. You will be kept alive, she said. For questioning. Her court gasped again. The human bowed his head slightly, not in submission but in respect. As guards moved to take him away, one of the highest commanders stepped forward. My queen, he said urgently. Humans are deceivers. The queen turned slowly. Explain, she said. They hide their strength, the commander warned. Their silence is not weakness. The queen looked back at the human. As he was pulled toward the exit, he stopped. He turned his head just enough to look at her one last time. "When humans stop begging," he said quietly, "it means we already decided." The guards dragged him away. The doors closed. The Queen remained standing in the center of the chamber. For the first time in centuries, her victory felt incomplete. She looked at her hands. They were steady. But inside her mind, something had begun to move. A thought she had never allowed before. The Queen did not sleep. She had not slept in many cycles, but this time was different. This time, rest refused to come. The throne chamber was empty now. The lights were dim. The great doors were sealed. Yet the human's words still echoed in her mind. When humans stop begging, it means we already decided. The Queen stood alone before the tall window that looked out into space. Stars drifted slowly beyond the glass. Worlds she owned. Worlds she ruled. And for the first time in centuries, they felt distant. She turned sharply. "Bring me the records," she commanded. Moments later, floating screens filled the air before her. Human history. Human wars. Human losses. She expected chaos. Savage violence. Endless cruelty. That was how her generals described humans. But what she saw made her pause. Again and again, the same pattern appeared. Humans fought, then rebuilt. Humans lost, then returned stronger. They argued among themselves, yes. They struggled. They failed. But they never stopped protecting their own. The Queen watched images of ruined cities. Humans pulling strangers from rubble. Human soldiers standing in fire so civilians could escape. She slowed the recordings. "Why?" she whispered. "No species wasted strength like this. Sacrifice without reward was foolish." Or so she believed. A soft chime echoed. "My Queen," a voice said. "Your commanders request your presence." She turned away from the records. "Send them in." The doors opened. 3 high commanders entered the chamber. Their armor gleamed. Their posture was tense. They sensed her mood. "You ordered a full review of human data," one commander said carefully. "It is unnecessary." The Queen's eyes sharpened. "Is it?" she asked. "Yes," another replied. "Humans are broken. Their fleets are scattered." The Queen stepped closer. "Then why do they still frighten you?" she asked. The commanders exchanged glances. "They are unpredictable," one admitted. The Queen raised a hand. "Leave me," she said. They hesitated. "Now," she repeated. The commanders bowed and exited. The silence returned. The Queen turned back to the records. She opened the final files. Classified. Hidden. Warnings her generals never shared. Her breath slowed. Human military doctrine. It was simple. Too simple. Avoid war. Delay conflict. Protect civilians. Never fight unless there is no choice. And then the final line. If forced, end the threat completely. The Queen's eyes widened slightly. "That is not conquest," she murmured. "That is survival." A memory surfaced. The human's calm voice. "We decided it was worth paying." She straightened. "Bring the human," she ordered. The holding chamber was cold. The human sat on the floor, his hands free now. No chains. The Queen entered alone. That alone surprised him. "You do not fear me?" she asked. "I respect you," the human replied. "But fear would change nothing." She studied him. "You knew I would return," she said. "Yes." "Why?" "Because you are a ruler," he answered. "And rulers fear doubt more than enemies." The Queen did not deny it. You said humans decided, she said. What did you decide? The human stood slowly. That if the galaxy would not leave us alone, he said, we would make sure it never tried again. Her voice lowered. How? He met her eyes. By ending the idea that humans are weak. A sharp sound echoed through the chamber. An alarm. The Queen turned. Report, she commanded. A voice filled the room. Multiple human fleets detected, the system said. Emerging from deep space. The Queen's blood ran cold. How many? She asked. There was a pause. Enough. She rushed back to the command hall. Screens lit up the room. Human ships appeared across the display. Old designs. Heavy armor. No beauty. Built only to endure. They were hiding, a commander said in disbelief. No, the Queen replied slowly. They were waiting. The human stood beside her now, silent. They are not attacking, a commander said. They are forming lines. The Queen looked at the human. Why do they not strike first? She demanded. Because we don't need to, he replied. You already know. She did. If the humans attacked, the galaxy would unite against them. If they waited, fear would spread on its own. Call them off, the Queen said quietly. The human shook his head. They won't, he said. Not unless you speak first. The Queen felt the weight of history settle on her shoulders. What do you want? She asked. The human answered without pride. Peace, he said. And safety. For humans only, she challenged. For everyone, he replied. She laughed softly. You would protect the same galaxy that attacked you. Yes. Why? The human's voice was firm. Because someone has to stop the cycle. The Queen turned back to the stars. All her life power meant control. Fear meant order. And yet, these humans ruled nothing. And still, the galaxy moved around them. I asked you once, she said slowly. Why you looked at me differently. Yes, the human said. Now I understand, she said. She faced him. You did not see a queen. No, he agreed. You saw a choice. Yes. The Queen activated the broadcast systems. Her image spread across the empire. Across fleets. Across worlds. I am ending the invasion, she announced. All forces stand down. Gasps echoed across the network. This war ends now. She turned to the human. Will they listen? She asked. They already are, he replied. Outside the viewport, the human fleets held their position. Waiting. The Queen felt something unfamiliar rise in her chest. Relief. The human turned to leave. Human, she said. He stopped. You changed the galaxy today, she said. He shook his head. No, he replied. We reminded it who we are. She watched him go. And for the first time in her long reign, the Queen did not feel alone at the top. She felt hopeful. And